And welcome everyone, boys and girls and that, Island Breakers and that. We actually have a Lakeland alum too, which I didn't find out till earlier today. Good job, Neil, on keeping that somewhat a secret all through that email chain.
Well, you know.
I give you props.
All right, thanks. No problem.
We're with you. And you and your organization, SaveMyKids.org.
Uh-huh.
Welcome to the show.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me. Not exactly sure how you found out about us or what you know about us, but I guess we'll clear some of that up right now. All right?
Pretty much.
All right.
See, I got my ways.
All
I
right.
just go and search all these off-the-wall things.
Well, we're pretty off the wall, so that's probably where you found us, off the wall.
Well, you look at us, you know, not many people realize Lakeland has a radio station that actually goes outside the walls.
Yeah, see, I didn't
Again.
know that. I just figured we'd have maybe 3 or 4 people listening, but it might not be the case, huh?
No,
Okay,
sadly.
good. Cool.
Especially different people in that in like South America, Europe and that. No, that's the actual reach in that.
All right, cool.
So
All right.
it'll be very interesting in that. So you have your 35 years volunteering with the tongue twister there.
Uh-huh.
You with alcoholism, non-including or substance abuse.
Uh-huh.
Besides your past winner of the volunteer award with Crossroads and
That's the Adams
Anyways.
Board.
Adams
Alcohol,
Board?
Drug Addiction, Mental Health Services Board.
Okay.
Volunteer of the Year. That was years ago. And basically, I've been doing this for a long time for free as a volunteer. So I did a 2-year stint as a family counselor at what was then Willow Ridge and is now Laurelwood. But then my wife got pregnant, and I had to find a job where I could make more money. So,
Yeah,
but I kept up
life.
my volunteerism all these years, and somehow I seem to be able to link up with youth. Still do. In fact, this afternoon I'll be down in the Juvenile Detention Center of Lake County. I bring speakers down there to help some of those kids understand that there's a better way. So I do that every Monday on behalf of SaveMyKid.org. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, especially because you might see the same people or, or...
We do, yeah.
I didn't want to completely bring that up, but maybe sort of, those ones that just did that one dumb mistake, probably.
Yeah, there's a whole range there. The whole range. We have, there's kids down there that just made a mistake here and there, and we've had a lot more serious offenders down there. But I love them all, and we present the best thing we can on Mondays at 3:30. It's closed, and there's a lot of requirements that one has to meet before they're invited down there. But it's a great opportunity, and we love working with Judge Lawson and her staff. They're amazing people. So anyway, to explain a little bit about Save My Kid, I guess it's good to understand a little bit about alcoholism and drug addiction and what we do. I guess I was thinking about this on my run this morning. To understand alcoholism and drug addiction, I guess I'll go back and I'll tell a story about a friend of mine. He's a grown-ass man, right? And he works outdoors, and he's been working outdoors for years, and he went to his mailbox to get his mail, and next thing you know, he's laying on his back, and the ambulance is there putting him in the ambulance. He'd become allergic to bees, and he didn't know it. Years and years of working outdoors, he'd been stung many times. But this time, he had an allergy to bees. Now, he still works outdoors. He just carries an EpiPen, and he takes certain precautions. So, okay, let's move ahead from that story and think about my youth. I used to love rolling down hills or sliding down. Did you ever do that as a kid? You love, sled riding or snowboarding or skiing. Love the hill, love the rush, love the adrenaline. I mean, it didn't take much for me when I was a kid. Kids in the neighborhood come over, we roll down the hills and blah, blah, blah. It was a great, the camaraderie of it, the fellowship, the neighborhood, and the rush of it. So think of a hill and all these kids rolling down the hill having a good time, and next summer there's a beehive. And that actually, some kids are going to say, no, I'm not going to go down the hill because there's a beehive. But other kids think, oh, this is really cool. There's a beehive, and the rush and the adrenaline and the danger and all that stuff, and they're going to keep going down the hill whether there's a beehive or not. Okay, all right.
No, you're good. This is like bringing back, that memory.
Yeah. So, so let's say kids start getting stung by the bees. Well, now there's another group of kids that are just going to quit now. I mean, they didn't quit before, but they're not going to get stung by the bees. It's just not worth it. But other kids are going to be drawn to it because, in fact, they're going to go maybe attack the bees and set up a thing. And some of them are going to start getting stung. And some of those kids are they're just not going to go by the bees anymore. Well, there's a group of people that absolutely need to go by the bees because it's so fun. Now, nobody understands it. It's a little bit crazy going by the bees, right? But they love the hill, and they're trying to get that rush that they had when they were, kids again. And they're trying to get that. They love the camaraderie, and all of the other kids have graduated from other hills, and they've ended up at that hill. And so they're all together, and they have this bond. And one thing in common is they love the bee stings, right? Well, yeah. One day, someday, maybe, some of these guys are going to develop an allergy. And that allergy to bees might kill them. Like they almost killed my friend Jim, right? Well, Jim takes certain precautions. But that draw to that beehive is just so incredible. That draw to that danger and that rush and everything. That these guys, they keep going and they keep getting stung. we affectionately, those are affectionately known as sick bastards because they keep doing the same thing, thinking it's going to be different. So these sick bastards, they keep, rolling over the beehive and they keep getting stung. I can see her laughing, and it is kind of laughable, except the tragedy is a lot of them, until they can get through that and understand that, they're going to keep doing it.
True.
It's going to ruin their families. And even more tragic now with the drugs that are out there today, it could be that first bee sting. That's not even, we're losing kids that aren't even addicts. We're losing kids that are maybe trying this stuff for the first or second time and they're dying. And they're kids of bankers and lawyers and attorneys. These aren't just kids that are coming up in poverty. These are all of our kids.
All over this spectrum.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're dying. But let's get back to the bee sting kids, because that's what Save My Kid does, all right? Mm-hmm. Generally, the purpose of Save My Kid is to help provide fun activities, to provide the adrenaline, right? To provide the opportunities for creativity. As you might imagine, like in the music industry, there's a significant amount of people in the music industry who become addicts or drug addicts or alcoholics. And they might be thinking, oh, geez, I can never play again. And that's quite a rush. I mean, to play live for people and to create that whole process and to get up and you have your other people who like to roll down the hill with you playing music.
That's true.
That is a rush. And what we do is we put on an event every year. It's called the Recovery Gym. We have one coming up April 14th at the Senior Citizen Center at 5 o'clock. And we provide opportunities for musicians to experience that rush again. And I've had old veterans say, oh, geez, I never thought I could play music again. And then last year we had a 17-year-old kid experience that rush for the first time. What Save My Kid does is we provided music lessons for that kid so that he could be prepared to play in front of a live audience. And that is fun. That's a rush.
Yeah.
Right? So and he'll be back this year. He's going to play this year with me. So it's that's really gratifying for us, and it helps fill that need for those people who love rolling down the hill, who aren't afraid of the bees, right? So, another thing that we do is we have a softball league, right? People love a lot of people who loved sports and athletics, who rolled down the hill too many times and got stung too many times. They don't want to just sit around a basement of the church and hear about the 12 steps. They want to get out. They want to experience life. And there are a lot of opportunities to do that in recovery, in the recovering community. We're just adding another hill. right? We're adding another
Yeah,
hill, and other
literally.
opportunities, and reaching out for other people. For those adrenaline junkies, we sponsor a paintball. We pay half of the cost of the admission for paintball at Pinnacle Woods. And have you ever been hit by a paintball?
I actually have 2 guns.
Isn't it a rush? I think for me it's more fun getting
It
shot.
depends if you're not wearing. If you're just wearing a T-shirt, you're just asking for it. The paid, literally, right?
It is. I mean, it's like, why do we do this, right? And I don't even mind the welts, right? Because the adrenaline and the when the bees buzzing around, when the adrenaline, it's
Or you remember to wear that, hoodie or something that you have a little bit thicker layer.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for that crap. I do, man. I dress up pretty big time. We took my daughter out one time, and she was so disappointed she didn't have any welts. But that was when she was younger. And then our softball league, I was just starting to say, we have 6 teams. We'll be in our 4th year. And, of course, we're looking for sponsors for teams. We're looking for sponsorships for our recovery jam because it costs money. It's a free event. Well, I'll never charge anybody to come in to the recovery jam. And it's a phenomenal amount of energy, and it's a phenomenal amount of adrenaline for the performers. We have a huge Chinese auction, and I don't know, you just feel the vibe of it. It's pretty cool, So you're rolling down the hill with 200 of your closest friends, people you don't know. But it's a great organization. We really love it. I'm meeting after this program. I'm going to go downstairs and talk to Ken about a program that we're starting, specifically dedicated for girls and young women, help with professional development and social skills and life skills and how to juggle everything. Simple skills like Microsoft applications, things like that. Have a very, very powerful team of women who are going to get behind this and develop this program. I'm very, very excited about that, as you might be able to tell.
Oh, you definitely. Well, especially like in this day and age, you got to sort of know, how to type or, type up something in Word and so on and so forth.
Right.
Sort of the whole handwritten stuff, and that's sort of a little out the window anymore.
Well, yeah, there is some use for old school notes, but you're right. Like this is a new age, especially for a guy my age. I'm on my way out, but we have a whole crew of younger people who are energetic, and some of them are they know about addiction from first-hand experience, and some of them are just pure professionals who want to help, and they see a need to help, and they see where they can fit in and add to what we do, and it's really cool seeing it come together. We're a true grassroots organization. We have no salary. Everybody, including me, we're all volunteer. We have the only income that we have is through the court system, and that's directly from them to Save My Kid. And then we're going to use those funds to fund the girls program, and that's of course pending some conversations that I'm going to have with them next week.
Yeah, some logistics.
Exactly. Yeah.
To summarize it, logistics.
Yeah, like what grown-ups have to do,
Yeah, that whole adult thing.
Yeah, the whole adult thing. Like I'm going to be 64 years old next week, and I'm still not coping very good with the grown-up thing. So.
Yeah. I'm going to be 30 this year.
Oh, you look so old too, yeah.
So, and that whole adulting thing and that's still a little,
Yeah. We do the best we can with what we have.
Well, pretty much literally in that. Well, that's like the whole story of you're sitting here talking about the bee stings and that.
Uh-huh.
Well, over in East Lake near the one pole, Jaxie, they had that big giant hill. Even my mother, my 2 uncles, go down the hill with bikes, all that.
Yeah.
Well, when we started that, the whole bright idea of not having your foot on the pedals and all that, someone ends up, because they hit that little like baby pole, little fountain thing, and the fence that runs around it. Yeah, let's say someone did not smack into that. Besides a bike tire sort of being lost in the process of that too.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a key question. Did that person go back and do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Not only after one, it sort of smashed the front tire of their bike too.
Yeah.
The other one, that the tire came off of the bike while going down that hill. Yeah.
Right.
Childhood, you gotta love it.
Oh, yeah. Some of us had great childhoods, and some of us had no childhoods. That's a very, very interesting dynamic when we all, talk about how we can serve. So I had a great childhood too, bee stings and all.
Valid. So, some of those near-death experience, why not,
Right, exactly.
Especially the bright idea of one time with that hill. We got the bright idea of who could get the closest and wave off before hitting that.
Yeah.
That was probably not near the smartest idea ever there.
Right.
Because, that's when the whole running into the fence thing happened. Yeah, a little too soon.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll sort of lead into this. Because you pretty much sort of nailed on a few different things I was going to say about programs you offered and all that.
Uh-huh.
Is there any other different programs you're thinking that you would like to get into?
Well, I can tell you about one we're on the tail end of.
Okay.
I donated a 1954 Chevy Bel Air to Save My Kid. And one of the things we were doing for a mentoring program was to we had a professional auto mechanic, master mechanic, who I met through the court system as a volunteer, and he mentored one of our kids from the juvenile court system, and they totally rebuilt that engine. So we have a 1954 Chevy with a brand new engine, basically. I mean, it's the same engine, but all new components. And now we have an airbrush specialist, body guy who's been working with other kids, because these kids grow up. The first kid I was talking about, he's now in the Army. So, I mean, I would consider him a success so far. We have another kid who worked on the body, so we're getting the body all perfectly shiny. It really, really looks cool. We had planned to make it a Brownsmobile, but we decided against that this year.
I don't completely disagree with that.
It still has a cool color, but it's just going to go plain. And through some of our fundraising efforts, we were able to put on some real nice wheels and tires. We've had the engineers help us, with some of this design work and spec out the right tires, and local vendors that would put them on and mount them free of charge.
Nice.
And it looks hot. We'll have that at the Recovery Jam on the 14th, I hope.
That'll be interesting.
Going back into the body shop today or this week, as soon as we can drive it there. It doesn't have...
Yeah, hopefully that rain stays away.
I know. It doesn't have heat, and the accelerator sticks. That's why we didn't have it in the Mardi Gras parade. Well, the parade was canceled.
Yeah, that would be not a very safe thing.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, so if you know how to work a clutch, or you know how to stomp on a lot of people I know drove junkers for years. So accelerator sticks. You pound on it.
Yeah.
And it unsticks. Well, you don't want to do that in the parade.
Yeah. Rather not.
Yeah.
That could lead into many bad things.
Yeah, so we pulled it out of the parade. We're going to have it in the parade, but they ended up canceling the parade this year anyway. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was severe thunderstorms. But we were going to have a float in it, and so we create stuff like that. So, when I was a kid, I was in the parade because I was in the Boy Scouts and I was in the Little League. But a lot of our kids, they never had a chance to be in a parade. So come on out, march with us in the parade, throw out candy, Some of these kids were...
It's a good exercise.
They were very excited about it, very excited about throwing out candy. But then it got canceled. So...
It happens.
Right, it does.
But to bring up the whole Browns thing, at least the perfect parade continued.
Yeah, well, I won't make any comment. If you did the math on my age, I was 10 years old the last time they won a championship. And, yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I was 10 years old in 1964. I loved it. And it's like getting stung by a bee. Once I got stung, I was always a Browns fan. And I think they did their best, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I won't make a comment either way, but we're not going with the Browns theme on our car, just the color.
I don't blame you one bit. When I was in elementary school, the auction when they had the stadium net down there, and I was down there at the Science Center.
Right.
Yeah. Not fun times.
No, it was tough. It's been a tough, however many years that's been, 50 years for me. So
I believe it. Don't worry. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. At least that you believe so.
Yeah, well, I don't lose any sleep over it anymore.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right.
So, have you ever met that one kid that sort of reached out and taught you something?
Oh, that's a great question. No, these sick bastards, they teach me stuff all the time. A lot of it is based on some of the questions they ask, some of their observations. One of the things that I have learned is coming from a disadvantaged background is a real thing. It's not just a thing that people say. You read about it in the kid report. No, man, it's real, right? I mean, I had a kid come up to me where we had a specialty meeting just for these guys. We don't run it anymore, but we used to run it. And we're walking down the hall, and he said, Neil, I think my mom died today. And that's a hell of a thing to hear from a 15-year-old kid. You think? Yeah. You think that she died today? And I of course, I know people who don't know who their parents are, never did. And you know what? I mean, those are challenges that, like, you and I wouldn't ever think of, as to, well, how can we reach out and give them some of that depth now? And one of our philosophies, and my personal philosophy, is I never give up on any kid, not even one. I haven't given up on any of them. Now, there are two musicians who have played at Recovery Jam in the past, one of which was scheduled to play this spring, that won't be playing because of the types of drugs that are out there today. Two of these musicians have passed away, leaving orphan children. And do I learn from those? Yeah, and we try to take those lessons, and although they're not my own personal lessons, and
well, you're sort of linked a little to it.
Yeah, very intimately. To try to build something inside. Now, Save My Kid, we don't do counseling. We're not a clinical organization. We're not a 12-step organization. We're not part of a recognized 12-step organization. We aren't. We're separate. We're our own separate entity. We're just, like I was saying before, we're just another hill, right? We're another hill for these people, because there are plenty of opportunities within those, I think 12-step is what they call them, 12-step communities, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
There's plenty of there's world conferences, and there's trips, and there's things like that. Well, we'll finance a kid we finance kids going to conferences in 3 different states. And that reminds me of another program that we're going to be in our 3rd year, and it's called Real in Reality. It's for game fishing. I mean, we have a licensed guide who wants to volunteer his time and his services, and he's taking kids to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, and pulling out these like big ass fish, right? And it's so gratifying. And he starts with a morning meditation, and they learn other things in order to earn that skill. or
Yeah.
that sect or that entire entire experience. So they do morning meditations, and they learn, commitment, and they learn integrity. And it's they catch fish, but they have an experienced guide who's pretty young actually, and very successful, to walk literally walk hand in hand with them up that creek, and there's danger.
That's a good pun, though. I mean,
know.
literally, that you could see that one.
Right. And there's a certain amount of danger to river fishing, especially in Northeast Ohio. You get those waders filled up with ice and water, you're in trouble. So he got a rush.
Well, even going out ice fishing on a lake.
Yeah, well, I've never done that.
No, I don't plan on to anytime soon.
Right. So, I forgot to mention this. This summer, we're looking to start a volleyball league. We need some venue. We need some volleyball nets that we have access to on a Sunday, and I guess the goal is to start with maybe 4 to 6 teams, and play on Sunday until our softball season starts. So, that's going to be a tremendous amount of fun.
Definitely.
That's what we're about. We're about fun. Someday I'd like to take some of these guys on a whitewater rafting trip. Have you been on one of those? Do it.
No.
Please do it. It is really cool. If you like going down your hill and running into whatever it is you ran into.
A fence.
Yeah. Go down on the.
But I was one of the lucky ones. I keep close, but never actually happened.
Yeah. Well, go down to the Cheat River or somewhere. They're accessible, and it is a rush. I'm pretty sure that you'd enjoy it.
No, I was the one that I Frankenstein a bike together.
Okay.
Literally,
Yeah.
of all different parts, and it had the frame and all that belted from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And a chain every once in a while, or you went really fast, kept popping off.
Right.
And it leaded to many different accidents.
Yeah, but you still rode it.
Yeah. Or the one time you go and sort of pull up on the bike and you just see the front, spokes and it come up and the tire didn't. Somehow magically landed back on it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, that
could have led really bad.
could have gone real bad, right?
Oh, yeah, literally.
Face plant, the whole deal.
Oh, yeah. But the funny thing is, every time it got stolen, the chain ended up popping on the person that tried to steal it. And somehow they ended up hurting themselves some shape, somehow.
Karma.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. Sir describes it. But that's it. The funny thing is, it's many different things that go to saying that, like other programs, especially volleyball. Dudley in Willowick.
Okay. Yeah.
They have two.
I got to call into them. I left a message on Friday. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
You already heard of them.
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah. We're we get stuff done.
I was just thinking that. They have two nets. I know right over there and that. So, because that's actually right near me. So that's how I know.
Oh, anybody can join us anytime. It's like at the Recovery Jam. It's a free event. Anybody can come. You don't have to be an addict or a drug addict or have one in your family or anything. People do come and just to get the energy, just to experience it. One of our board members, he had no background in any of this, came to the event and was just overwhelmed and overjoyed just to see what was going on. It's more of a thing you feel, for me.
True.
Except, back in the old days, I was everything. I was the equipment manager and the stage manager, and I was the MC, and and I had to make sure that everybody knew where the mops were. I don't have to do any of that anymore. But when you're out there in the thick of it, you can feel it. I could feel it. So.
No, I understand that. I have many trades of one hats.
Yeah.
When I'm hearing that, sort of the engineer, DJ. General manager, that friend to listen to, whatever problem.
Right.
No, I completely understand that. But with that, what attracts people to come volunteer in your organization?
Okay, that's another great question. Where are you coming up with these great questions? I didn't prompt you for this. What attracts them? Well,
I just get bored and sit and type in front of a computer.
a couple of things. First of all, part of the model for this, it's unofficial. Of course, this is all unofficial. Mm-hmm. Part of the model for this is a lot of those kids who who stuck around long enough rolling down the hills and getting stung and becoming allergic, right? Those people learn how to roll down the hill without getting stung, right? Because they roll down the hill without the bees. And they just want to help other people come and learn and have fun and enjoy opportunities, and it could be in the form of art. Oh, we sponsored a glass blowing trip down to Chagrin Falls. That was fun. But anyway, these people, a lot of the people who volunteer are volunteering because they know what it was like when they first started recovery. What the hell am I going to do? I don't want to just sit in church basements for the rest of my life. There's got to be something more. There's got to be something more fulfilling. There's got to be something more fun. There's got to be, let's face it, romance. There's got to be, there's got to be all these other components to life. It can't just be about sitting in the church basement. What are we going to do? And of course, True Recovery offers answers to all of those things. You can have fun. You can play baseball. You can go on a charter fishing boat, which we do. We're doing a fish fry this October. We're doing so many things, but the people who volunteer want to volunteer because either they were in that position at one time, or like one guy stepped up in a big way. His father was an alcoholic, and although he wasn't, he wants to participate. He knows what it's like. He knows what it was like for his family when his dad was, and so they want to help. They want to come and help rebuild a car, right? Even if they're not an addict, they want to come and help one. So that's their motivation, because we are all volunteers. Nobody gets a paycheck for any of the stuff that we do.
I just like how you keep on adding on.
Oh, I keep forgetting that.
No,
I came prepared to talk.
No, it's all good in that, because every once in a while that's sort of what happens in that you sort of forget,
Right.
Which most everyone probably out there that's listened before many different things.
Yeah. Sort
of realize every once in a while you get sort of that, then it's like, oh, and.
Yeah.
Even that happens to me.
Yeah. At the you mentioned that I'm a Lakeland Hall of Fame inductee. They gave me 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
I was prepared for 3 minutes today. They gave me 3 minutes, and mine was I went 3 minutes and 10 seconds, during that. And I think that's on
not bad.
That's on the Lakeland TV thing. And so I was prepared for 3 minutes, and to be able to tell you all of the other things that we do is a great, great blessing for us, for me. Well, like I said before, if it doesn't suck, I hope that I can put a link to this presentation on our website.
Oh, yeah. It'll be up on YouTube, stream. I can actually send it to you.
Okay. That would be even easier.
It's not going to suck. We're doing pretty darn good.
Yeah, well, I'm having a lot more fun than I thought. I've got another radio interview coming up here closer to the event, but
don't worry. You
good.
Sort of, got that crash course in.
I did, yeah. Now I'm experienced.
But, yeah, glass blowing, that's actually pretty interesting.
Oh, they loved it. I had no idea how much those kids would enjoy it. And I had a lot of kids from the court. We serve young people and we serve adolescents. It's not just adolescents. And keep in mind, we serve families as well, because the families and the loved ones, they're the ones who are feeling a lot of the pain, and they're not anesthetized by any of the chemicals. So they're watching their kids go down and get stung by the bees, or their husbands, or their moms, or their dads. So, and that's I think one of the great things about the Recovery Jam is that it is an open family event. Little kids come and they play, and they're allowed to get, all squirrely, and they dance to the music. And we've had face painting. We're looking for a face painter now. If hello out there, Radio Land, we're looking for a face painter for a Recovery Jam April 14th at the Mentor Senior Center at 5 o'clock. So just get a hold of Jeremiah here, or look us up on Facebook at Save My Kid.
Or website.
We do have a website, SaveMyKids.org. Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah, that sort of because actually in middle school, we actually in art class had to sit there. We watched, I forgot the guy's name, but he was sort of up there with the whole glass blowing that. I can imagine kids, I found that neat in middle school, and that.
Yeah.
The time it takes to heat it up, blow it up, what you could do, all that, designs and that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised at how these kids enjoy that. And then, the next day I had to go down and pick up this stuff and then distribute it back to them. And an opportunity for them to be creative with some guidance from some professionals, people who really know this stuff. And at the end of the event, they have this thing in their hand. Right?
Yeah, the physical product of it.
It's like, okay, that's pretty gratifying. You don't get that as smoking a blunt. I mean, there's nothing but you smoke a blunt. You don't necessarily have this, So,
not only they treasure that, and they, fend off anyone that comes near it.
Keep it. One kid did try to make a bong. They wouldn't let him. But anyway, we have to watch him.
You always had to have that one.
Yeah.
Always had to have that one.
Yeah.
But with that, if you ever, besides sort of kids and that, ever thought like into the high schools and going, ever did any certain things there?
Well, yeah, we've thought about that. There are other agencies out there right now, especially like in Lake County that I'm familiar with. I did go out with on a contractual basis with Crossroads when they had a bullying program. They called me and they brought me in to go out to the middle schools. Or no, it could have been. I forget whether it was middle school or high school. And they do have, I guess, speakers. Crossroads, they're pretty good. They have really, really good speakers who help with the education and the staff and try to educate them on how to pass that along. Save My Kid, we'd be glad to do it. We just haven't put that in any of our plans. But it's a great idea, and we would do it, but it'd almost be duplication of services. I believe that there are some professionals out there, professionals who are actually certified and licensed in prevention. And that's a thing. That's a real thing. Yeah. There's a license and there's a whole entity in clinical services for prevention. We don't do any clinical services. We're strictly grassroots volunteers, fund ourselves. We might be applying to some grants here coming up. So we'll have to meet certain criteria, but we do have, some PhD psychologists on our board in some of our committees right now. So we're trying to build our credibility now from the top down, instead of just some guys who will be willing to take some kids sled riding or something.
True, valid.
But that's a good point, though.
But I'm sorry to go here with you. From a year from today, what do you want to see happen or added on to Save My Kid?
You got Jeremiah. You have some of the greatest questions that I've ever been asked to respond to. A year from today, I'll be like a week away from my 65th birthday. I've had my own business for over 20 years as an entrepreneur, as you and I were talking about. And Save My Kid turned 10 years old just this past year. I'm going to be 65 years old and my children are starting to give me grandchildren now. I would like to build our organization to the point where I'm the past president and maybe the MC of the Recovery Jam. And if I'm successful, and a true success, I will be at a different capacity for Save My Kid, and the leadership that hopefully we are nurturing within our board and within our volunteers will be self-sufficient. And I'll just be the eye candy.
Sort of that face, yeah.
That's where I see myself. So a year from now, I see our current board, which I'm more excited about this board than any that I've had in the past 10 years. Really diving in and investing their expertise and their energy into the governance of what Save My Kid could be. And that could even be rewriting the mission statement. That could be, a whole bunch of things. We had our retreat at the Holden Center right across the street on Saturday.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we did. It's just our board retreat. And we outlined 2018, and we have our budget, and we are going to move forward, and hopefully we're going to build on some of the successes that we've had and learn lessons from some of the things that I could have done better over the past 10 years. I'll freely admit it.
Well, it's not like it's a guidebook and that manual that says, hey, this is how you do this.
Exactly. That's really funny you should mention that, because last week, even though I was sick with the flu and stuff, I started a guidebook on how do you put together a recovery jam. Because I'm thinking of taking the show into New Hampshire this summer. But anyway, how do you do it?
Nice.
So you're right. There was no guidebook. Although I've been on 2 boards, I was on the Adams board and the Crossroads board. I did have some experience with professional boards. When I was on the Crossroads board, I sat there. I didn't say a word. I just listened. Right?
Except yay or nay or something like that,
Yeah, that's where I learned a little bit about Robert's Rules of Order, And then when I was on the Adams board, they had a hard time shutting me up. So, that's a real good point. That's a real good thing. So, maybe it won't happen next year, but when I turn 65, if I do my job right now, then I'll be able to let somebody else take over the reins. Like I have for Manhattan Consultants. I have a very, very strong person who is now running operations for that.
Very nice.
But I'm on call 32 hours a week. So if the phone rings, I'm going to have to take it.
It happens. Just like me. You think, when I'm off of here and that at home and that, when I get a email or whatever and that, I know your pain.
Yeah.
I know. I feel it.
I feel your pain, yeah.
Just like the thing in that, back in the day when I started here, I had nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate you on turning this thing around in your tenure of 7 years. Is it 7 years you've been here?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's sustainability. That's a big thing in business these days.
I know.
That's a big thing for Save My Kid and my company, Manhattan Consultants, is sustainability.
But with that, the volunteer with the organization, do you guys, have any certain, you had to have a, GED requirements of, any sort?
Well, there are requirements to volunteer with us, and because we have the potential to work with youth and work with youth specifically out of the court system, our volunteers typically have a background check run on them, and if there are certain things that are deal breakers for becoming a volunteer to work one-on-one with the kids, right? But if there's an interest in helping us find raffle baskets, we're looking for raffle baskets for our Chinese auction valued at $25 or more, right? So we can raffle them off for prizes. That's how we make our money, right, at the Recovery Gym. But there's no requirements for that. Just a good heart, clean heart, whatever. But if you're going to work directly with one of our kids, you'll need to have a background check.
All right.
And of course, an interest in some, something specific that you want to bring.
Yeah, some kind of hobby of yours that sort of co-links
Yeah.
with it.
Right. And it's tough to do because we get willing volunteers, but the kids, more often than not, they don't stick around. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the truth. They don't stick around. The successful ones, they're successful and they move on. And some of the other ones, they come from a whole different place, all over the place, and they're not either able to stick with the commitment. And there's logistical problems too, like transportation, and there's a lot of different barriers to that. But as we do the best we can, and we like I said, we never give up on a kid.
Is there any other different organizations that you work with to achieve, or in your sort of line of, besides SaveMyKids, is there, a different agency also you work along with?
Well, me personally, yeah. I mean, I've been asked to come in Signature Health to talk about writing music, right? So I did it was really an enjoyable session that I did with them. I would still, I still would volunteer at other agencies. I don't have an issue with that. Personally, we do. With Save My Kid, we really would be interested in collaborations, working with other agencies, other entities. There are some things that we do. For example, at the Recovery Jam, some of the women who are in maybe housing situations in Lake County, they come in and they help us, serve the food and stuff. I know that sounds horribly stereotypical, but
it sort of happens.
They like it, and it's good. They come in.
People, that's their thing to do. It's their thing to do,
Right. But yeah, so that's an informal, non-binding collaboration that they help us, we help them, and they come in. Other than that, I've had some conversation with some other agencies. It's just conversation. That's all at this point, because we're pretty loose. We're pretty. It's pretty hard to get a handle on. Well, what is it you do? And I said we sent some adolescents to 3 different states for recovery conferences. There's a lot that we have to do to go through that. We have to get parental permission, and especially if they go out of state. And we had to learn our ratio. How many volunteers do you need to take how many kids? Well, one-on-one's better, because these kids are wild. Next
can be, or especially you get them out of the state of Ohio and that. Hey, freedom. Hey, I've never been to Chicago before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a subway and that runs above ground.
Right. Yeah, a friend of mine and I took 3 kids to a conference where there was an old facility. It was like a really cool place, and the receptionist made the mistake of telling us when we were checking in that the place was haunted. So we found out after the fact that deep in the night, like 2 or 3, our 3 guys were down in the basement trying to find the room that was haunted, that had a padlock on it. It's like, oh my God. So lessons learned. We put one kid with one with one adult.
Anything really interesting? That don't say.
Yeah, they didn't find anything haunted, but it was a really, really fun trip. That is a trip. I think one of those kids is a minister now, so it's not a total loss. If we would,
can't argue with that.
If we had anything to do with that, anything, even just like a grain of sand, part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Very valid.
Thanks.
I do like the stories, though. I really do. They're a little off the wall and not expected in that.
Yeah. Oh, it's a journey. I'll say it's a trip.
The most memorable trip, story, project.
Oh boy,
I know, I'm sort of leaving that really broad for interpretation.
So far. I think one of the most memorable was a very, very talented, well, at risk of limiting it to all the other ones, very, very talented young singer, a young lady. She and her mother and her daughter, a couple of years ago, were all up on stage playing at the Recovery Jam. That's phenomenal, and there was friends and family, and the daughter was like little, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, and she wasn't just cute singing. She can really, really sing, which is, I mean, I don't think I would have, oh, look how cute, Bobby Sue is, let's have her sing. That doesn't really help anybody, but this girl could really, really sing, and her mother could really, really sing, and who knew the grandmother could sing. And so the Recovery Jam was a perfect format to see that family together, right, in recovery, and only one of them was in recovery, and that's the thing, we don't tell you who is, because we want to protect the anonymity of the people who are up there.
Yeah, it's at their discretion.
It's not likely that the 6-year-old girl was, but anyway.
You would hope not.
Yeah, she hadn't been stung by the bees yet, So that was memorable. And then I think the other, my favorite moment was 2 years ago, or last year, both. We have a sing-along at the end of the event where everybody comes up and sing, and we have very talented musicians now, last year and this year, to perform during that, and the rest of us just sing along. And I think my favorite moment of the entire 10 years I've been doing this was when one little disabled girl came up and she held my hand, and she joined me in the sing-along, and I'm almost tearing up telling you about it, because that's how much I loved that her dad would kind of hand her off to me, and that she felt the vibe, and she knew that she could be comfortable with me even though I've never met her, and there we were singing. I don't know how well or she sang, or
obviously not that bad.
yeah, and that's, I think, I'm glad you asked that question. That's my all-time favorite memory of SaveMyKid.org, was being able to see these families united and doing something really, really not only gratifying but safe, without any bees to be concerned about.
Very valid. But with that, you bring up the jam. I'm going to sort of throw in what I do to these guys, all the different local artists and that. If you could do it in any venue, where would you want to do it? Whether it's in the state, out, or around the world?
Well, yes to all of those. The venues are getting tough, because remember, I just said we don't charge admission. We rely on...
I'm sort of going on this whole hypothesis of...
that's all right. That's good.
If you didn't have any money restriction, anything.
Well, one thing I learned early as a performer, I'd rather play in a small hall that's full of people than a huge hall with, that looks empty, So
that's true.
We've been growing organically. We started at the Seeker's Coffee House. Julie, who was the owner at that time, she let us come in for free. We outgrew that quickly, and then so we had to look for other venues. We're going to have to look for other venues eventually. It looks like it. The problem is that, like I said, as long as I'm the president, we'll never charge admission for this event. And finding a venue is tough. But anyway, if money weren't a restriction, I guess the next stop would be the larger venues locally to roll this out on a national level. I have invited a very close friend of mine to bring the show out to them in New Hampshire. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, hasn't made the commitment. So that's when I started that manual that you were referring to, that we don't have, how to start a recovery jam, right? A step-by-step process and what this and that. But there seems to be an awful lot of interest. I never expected it to be like this. our first gig at Seekers, I think my daughter and I went out that day. We got some donations from restaurants to for like gift certificates. We made $30. It was like, wow, okay, we covered the cost, for our coffee,
Now it grew into a whole organization.
Now, yes, exactly. Now we expect anywhere from 250 to 300 people at the thing, but but of course not all at the same time. Okay, I have to say that because of the restrictions on how many people we can jam in the hall.
True. Yeah, fire marshal would be very fond of this.
Let's hope the fire marshal isn't tuned in right now.
Well, technically, you didn't say where it was held.
I did say.
Oh.
Yes.
Unless, me, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just not going to say it right now. They'll have to go back and listen to the whole thing.
We could always sort of go and cut that out.
Okay. No, don't.
I could always do that secretly.
Don't cut it out. We have to live by higher moral standards now. We'll just make
ethical code?
Yes, we do. Remember, we're trying to teach integrity. We're trying to...
And being an adult.
Yes. Damn. Yeah, I know. It's that damn adult thing. We want to teach integrity by example. Right? True. Right. So we'll try to limit, and try to spread the crowd out, which we do because the music venue is in a different room than the auction items. And then there's a whole group of our smokers. They stay outside practically the whole time, just chatting and hanging out. So
then here and there, some people might have to go to whatever. So
right. Yeah, right now we have Big D's in Willoughby scheduled to be our caterer. And we're looking forward to it. I've stopped in and have the Reuben sandwich. It's really, really good. So we do serve. We will serve meals. So it'll only be $10 for three or a choice of three different entrees, and you get your can of soda with that. So.
Not bad.
So the crowd will be spread out. We're not going to break the fire marshal's code.
Yeah.
Wink,
definitely.
Wink, I know.
Definitely? Is that more better?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good idea.
Especially with your whole consulting and with your other business.
Right, exactly. My safety and health business.
You have to be ethical.
That's right.
Very valid.
Yep.
But the one thing I know you sort of had to wrap up. Do you believe it's been an hour?
I'm cheating because I'm looking at the timestamp on the monitor. Yeah, okay. That's enough.
So,
how about that? I really appreciate it. It's a great
did you ever think it would be this good?
No, I didn't. I'm glad that
you were sort of, I could tell right off the bat, a little, you were skeptical in that of it.
Well, some of these things that I do, like I told you, like I spoke at a Leadership Lake County luncheon, and they said 20 minutes. And then I spoke at the graduate or the induction to Lakeland Hall of Fame, 3 minutes. And then so I told my wife.
So the higher things you get,
the less time. My wife said, "You're not going to do 3 minutes. You can't talk 3 minutes about anything." So I said, "I don't know. I'll just go and see what happens." So I appreciate this open forum and the chance to tell you about something I'm extremely passionate about.
It definitely was a good one. You'll like the video.
There's a video.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, I forgot to tell you that.
Oh.
Yeah, that.
Okay. Oh, I see it. That lamp is in the way. All right. I'm glad you didn't tell me about that.
See, I sort of, because you were so nervous and that.
Yeah, you threw that in kind of like I threw in the Menor Senior Center for the Recovery Jam.
Yeah,
Oops.
Something like that, secretly and sly.
Right. Okay, cool. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been nice meeting you. And I wish you luck in your future as an entrepreneur and a businessman. Congratulations on your tenure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It definitely. It's been an honor having not knowing that you were on the Hall of Fame and that here at Lakeland. It's been an honor to have you two. Welcome back to your alma mater.
Thanks.
Not really very cool that to get on the Hall of Fame and all that.
All right. Cool.
So, good job.
Appreciate it. Thanks.